Let's get right into it. Number 7. Gardening. Picture this. You're outside, barefoot on the grass, trying to keep a basil plant alive. It costs you what, $1? Maybe $2? Gardening used to be the everyman's hobby, the thing your grandma did with spare tomato seeds and vibes. And then one day, rich people woke up and said, yes, dirt, but make it exclusive. Suddenly, gardening wasn't about plants anymore. It was about curated, edible landscapes and artisan soil blends, which absolutely sounds like someone is trying to sell you a jar of dirt for $50. Spoiler, they are. You know those tiny planters that look like they were made for a fairy who pays rent in acorns? You buy one because it's cute, and next thing you know, someone online is telling you that your plant needs a Himalayan quartz-infused hydration schedule. Your basil is sitting there like, bro, just give me tap water, please. But rich people don't believe in tap water. They missed their plants with water that was ethically evaporated from the tears of mountain goats or whatever. The psychology behind this glow-up is simple. Humans love turning basic survival skills into luxury flexes. Gardening triggers the "I created life" part of your brain, which feels powerful. But add money and suddenly you're not just growing tomatoes, you're sourcing heritage varietals while wearing linen pants that cost more than your rent. What used to be a cheap hobby for people who just wanted homegrown mint is now a competitive sport where someone will absolutely judge you for not knowing your plant's astrological sign. Basically, we took dirt, literal dirt, and found a way to make it pretentious. Rich people didn't ruin gardening, they just turned it into a lifestyle brand your basil never asked to be a part of. Number 6. Thrifting. Imagine walking into a thrift store for a $4 hoodie and immediately seeing a pair of jeans priced like they're made of woven unicorn fibers. That's the current state of thrifting. It used to be simple. You sifted through a pile of questionable shirts, prayed nothing had a mystery stain, and walked out feeling victorious and financially stable. It was cheap, chaotic, occasionally sticky, and beautiful. Then rich people discovered it, not because they suddenly needed to save money, no, but because overpriced vintage became the new gold rush. Suddenly every retro t-shirt from 2008 is labeled Rare Y2K Artifact and costs $37. The psychology behind this is basically just status signaling disguised as sustainability, because nothing says ethical fashion like buying a jacket someone's uncle donated after a midlife crisis. Your brain loves patterns, labels, and stories. So when you hear vintage, your neurons start throwing confetti. Add a rich person with a TikTok account saying, this is an authentic 90 seconds piece, and your brain goes, wow, history, even though it's literally a promotional Sprite shirt from 2014. Meanwhile, the thrift stores catch on and raise prices, turning what used to be a treasure hunt into a financially irresponsible safari. The funniest part? Rich people thrift ironically. They don't need the $2 mug with a cartoon duck on it, but they want it because it's quirky, and suddenly that mug costs $8. So now regular people walk in hoping to buy warm clothes and walk out spiritually broken because the flannel shirt is behind a glass case like it's a museum artifact. Basically, thrifting got gentrified by people who don't even need it. Number 5. Vinyl collecting. Remember when vinyl was for DJs scratching beats in dusty clubs, or your uncle's dusty coffee table turntable you forgot existed? It was once a nostalgia-driven, borderline ragtag pastime. You'd rustle through bargain bins for $2 and find a scratch-to-hell copy of some local band's LP, feel triumphant, maybe even play it once. Cheap, messy, delightful. Then, enter the yacht owners of nostalgia. Now vinyl collecting is serious business. It's not enough for a record to have existed before 1995. It has to be first pressing, mint condition, maybe even sealed. Suddenly you're checking disc weights, sleeve textures, font types, and who knows what else. Some rich collector somewhere out there is debating if a 1978 pressing of Jedward Does Dylan is artifact worthy. Your brain hears limited edition, and it lights up like a slot machine that always payouts. Psychologically, it's the same craving littler mammals had to hoard shiny rocks. Rich people hoard vinyl not because they need music but because it says, I appreciate culture more than you, and I have the money to prove it. That's why a perfectly good copy of Greatest Hits of the 80 Seconds now gets slapped with a $120 price tag, while the thrift store quietly weeps in the corner. You stroll into a record shop hoping to find an old treasure for $5, and instead you find a $300 sleeve behind glass with velvet ropes and a do not touch appreciation only sign. So your passion for retro sound gets monetized, fetishized, and treated like it's more important than your rent. Nice. Vinyl collecting went from dusty dumpsters to Delray estates. Your headphones still work though. Number 4. Home cooking, Artisan edition. Imagine you're in your tiny kitchen, chopping onions, mixing spices, cooking a simple meal for yourself or your family. It costs hardly anything beyond staples. That used to be home cooking, humble, comforting, and cheap. Then suddenly food became a luxury runway. Enter the Artisan home chef. Now you're not just cooking, you're crafting flavor experiences. You're not boiling water, You're extracting essence. Flour is no longer flour. It's stone ground, heritage wheat, maybe even moon-blessed. Salt isn't salt. It's hand-harvested Celtic sea salt from meltwater springs. Your humble tomato stew that cost you cents is now framed in your mind as a masterpiece deserving of a 200-page cookbook. Why? Because cooking became a statement. If you added a sprig of basil, someone somewhere took a photo, set up dramatic lighting, and somehow sold it for $24 as sundown bistro tomato basil magic. Suddenly, everyone's kitchen turns into a food studio, and dinner becomes a social media performance. Psychologically, humans like two things in their hobbies: competence and ego boosts. Cooking feeds competence. You made food, and for some, ego says, also you made it while holding an heirloom whisk carved from Himalayan goat horn. That's when cooking stops being nourishment and starts being performance art. So you go from frying eggs and eating in 5 minutes to slow roasting cauliflower for 6 hours, plating it like it's from a Michelin star restaurant, and whoops, you just spent more on herbs than your fridge is worth. Home cooking. From grandma's simple stew to artisanal alchemy for influencers with too many aprons. Number 3, coffee brewing. You know that feeling when you wake up early, wander to the kitchen, and throw some cheap instant coffee into hot water and, voila, caffeinated salvation. That used to be coffee cheap, bitter, efficient. Then somewhere along the line someone rich said, why consume caffeine when you can experience it? Suddenly coffee became a spiritual ritual. Now you don't just make coffee, you grind single-origin Ethiopian beans on a vintage stone mill. Water? Oh no, filtered through glacier shards at precise 93.7 degrees Fahrenheit. The cup? Not a mug, but a hand-blown artisan ceramic vessel with smoky glaze, bought from some obscure potter's website that ships in a box filled with dead flowers for vibe. The smell of your simple morning brew doesn't cut it anymore. Your brain now craves notes of cherry, hints of cacao, subtle undertones of ancient curses, or whatever fancy-tasting notes they invent. This escalation is fueled by addiction to identity. Brewing fancy coffee signals. I am cultured. I observe taste. The more complicated the setup, the burr grinder, the scale, the gooseneck kettle, the French press on a tripod, the more your brain lifts you up like you're a mad scientist brewing essence of morning. And that's before you post a photo of it on social media with the caption, bean to cup, energy to soul. Your wallet groans. Your kitchen counters overflow with gear. And your actual coffee from 5 minutes ago tastes like swamp water compared to this grandeur. But your brain nods approvingly at a mess of paraphernalia because you're doing it right. So trading instant coffee for ritualistic brewing, cheaper mood, and better coffee used to be just water and beans. Now it's a whole lifestyle. Number 2, photography. Once upon a time, photography was a weird little hobby for nerds with cameras that cost more than their rent. You'd shoot film in random street corners, hope the shots came out. And there you had it: memories, weird lighting, maybe one good frame. It was art. It was cheap. Ish. It was magic. Then came digital. Then social media. Then photography as aesthetic investment. Rent a camera for months. Spend hours editing all to capture the perfect latte, the perfect sunset, the perfect mood. Now rich people don't just take photos, they create visual stories. They fetch equipment that looks like spaceship consoles, drones, prime lenses, ring lights, color-graded presets that make your apartment look like a moody music video. Your phone camera used to be enough. Now it's like bringing a butter knife to a nuclear war. The brain reason? Validation. A perfectly filtered, perfectly framed photo is public approval on a platter, and rich people photography turns small validation into a trophy. With every click, your limbic system thinks, ah yes, you are talented, you are seen, and you slowly start believing you're Picasso with a Zoom call. So you spend weekends standing against brick walls, looking deep while holding your chin, or climbing roofs at dawn for that just right light. Then you settle in to color correct 1,000 photos until your eyes bleed. For what? For a handful of hearts on Insta from strangers who don't know you but like your colors. Photography went from capturing memories to manufacturing vibes. Your pockets feel lighter, your ego feels heavier. Number 1. Yoga and meditation. Imagine you're lounging on your mat in living room shorts, stretching out, maybe breathing, maybe thinking about lunch. That used to be yoga: simple, slightly awkward, cheap, just your body and some floor. Then yoga and meditation got gentrified into wellness sauna porn. Enter the wellness elite. Now your yoga mat is made of cork, harvested by blindfolded Tibetan monks. Your breathing exercises come with incense bundles, Palo Santo sticks, Himalayan singing bowls, and crystals that align your chakras. You stretch under Himalayan salt lamps with sound baths in the background that cost as much as your last rent. Meditation isn't breathing. It's mindful transcendental journey into your inner cosmos. Why this intensification? Because in a chaotic world, people crave control. Yoga becomes not a stretch, but a ritual. Meditation becomes not relaxing, but spiritual marketing. The brain loves structure and rituals, especially when they make you feel like you're part of something bigger, more enlightened, more elevated. If you can pull off a downward dog on a cork mat bathed in candle glow, you're no longer just stretching. You are manifesting energy, aligning chakras, attracting abundance. And of course, once influencers show up rolling out mats and luxury lofts with gongs and crystals, everyone wants in. You sign up for the premium package, which includes coconut milk lattes, intuitive tarot readings, and a $40 smoothie afterward. It goes from yoga being free, just stretch, to a scripted, high-budget experience. Your original mat, the one you bought for $10, becomes embarrassing. Your simple breaths become insufficient. So you spend more money to quiet your brain, ironically. Yoga and meditation. Cheap when you just laid down. Expensive when someone told you your soul needs accessories. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.